Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, December 12th, 2022. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Salala?
Here.
Trustee Corkery?
Here.
Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazone?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, we will start out with a proclamation this evening. And we are going to recognize Deputy Chief Jeff Runge on his retirement. Whereas the Villa Park Police Department exists to protect and serve the people of Villa Park by performing the law enforcement function in a professional, respectful manner. And whereas Jeff Runge has currently served as the Deputy Chief of Support Services since February 22nd, 2021, leading police investigations and police records. And whereas Jeff was sworn in as a Villa Park police officer on December 20th, 1994, and has been a police officer for the Villa Park Police Department for over 28 years. And whereas Jeff has held the title rank of Officer, Tactical Officer, Detective Sergeant, and Deputy Chief with honor and distinction. And whereas Jeff has received numerous awards from Villa Park and many other police departments for his brave actions that led to the successful outcome of serious crimes. And whereas Jeff has participated in a multitude of community events to benefit Villa Park citizens, like Beep Baseball, the Citizens Police Academy, National Night Out. And whereas the Village of Villa Park, our community and citizens wish to recognize Jeff Runge for his service and dedication to the Villa Park Police Department and the Village of Villa Park. Now, therefore, I, Nick Kazone, President of the Village of Villa Park, along with the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees, do hereby deem it an honor and pleasure to extend this proclamation to Jeff Runge on this occasion of his retirement, with sincere congratulations and best wishes for his next endeavors. Chief Rivas, would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, Village Board Trustees, citizens, and police officers we have in the audience. Tonight, we're here to honor the 27-plus years, which will end to be 28 when the Deputy Chief Jeff Runge is finished. I just want to say we're so glad that Jeff chose our police department and our village as opposed to the Wheaton Public Works. So thank you. Tonight, Jeff is joined by his wife, Carrie, his parents, Robert and Linda Runge, his brother, Kevin, and last but not least, Jeff's daughter, Maddie, and son, Nolan. And from the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for lending us your husband, your son, your brother, and your father all these years, who I'm sure missed many family occasions and festivities at your house. So we thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for your sacrifice. As we had stated, Jeff is going to be finishing up 28 years, and he had served with distinction in various positions with the police department. He was a police officer, where he was sworn in December 20th of 1994, badge number 338, where he graduated from the Cook County Sheriff's Police Academy, where his training certificate was signed by then-Governor Jim Edgar and approved by Police Chief Ron Olson. And as I said, he had spent time as a police officer, detective, tactical officer, sergeant, detective sergeant, and lastly, deputy chief. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Jeff also served with distinction in the Major Crimes Task Force with the county. He was also assault coordinator working with seniors, and he also ran our crime-free housing program. When people look at our careers, there's always a back of the baseball card stuff that lists our stats when you look at that. And here are some of those things. He had 55 department awards for all kinds of crime-related incidents and community service. 26 PIPs or positive performance improvement certificates for his involvement in solving crime. There's also 14 letters of appreciation from different police departments in DuPage County and beyond that help solve serious crimes, including helping out in solving 13 homicides in those communities. Because of your actions, all these families could have the closure they so richly deserve. Lastly, I want to personally thank Jeff for joining our police administration and for his candor, for his truth, and never giving in to groupthink. And lastly, I just want to offer that he had submitted his retirement letter on July 12, 2022, and allowed us to plan and prepare for the future. Not everyone would be willing to do that, to put the department first. As someone once said, we're all judged by our last great act, and his was a selfless one for the betterment of our department. For that, we thank you. And before Jeff speaks, I just also want to present him with this other plaque that says, Jeff Runge, upon his retirement after 28 years of service to the Village of Villa Park, presented with great honor and recognition for your commendable and dedicated service to the community, presented December 12, 2022, by the Villa Park Board of Trustees. Congratulations. And now, sir, the floor is yours.
Great.
3 minutes.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you all for coming. I really do appreciate it. This is actually pretty fantastic. And a lot of stuff the Chief said, I remember some of it, maybe not so much, but when you put it all together, it really does sound great, and actually quite impressed with myself. So. But I'm extremely grateful and proud to have served the Villa Park community for the last 28 years. I want to thank you, Chief, for the opportunity to be your deputy chief. It really has been a great learning experience. It's a good way to cap off a career as well. Thank you to the men and women of the Villa Park Police Department. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to serve alongside all of you. I hope I helped you as much as you all have helped me. Keep up the great work and continue to take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you to the rest of the village employees. It was a pleasure working with you and getting to know all of you over the years. A very big thank you to my family. Without your love and support, none of this is possible. I owe everything to you, to each and every one of you, all of you. I love you all. Finally, I'd like to I'd like to wish a speedy recovery to the Lombard detective who was shot in the line of duty a few days ago, protecting his community. Please put him in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. This is actually really fantastic. So.
Yes. And now, if we can have all the police officers stand up in front, we'll also have the village board members and the mayor and Manager Harline in the picture.
You want us here too? Yeah. Okay.
You're like squeeze in, there's a lot of you. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. Just trying. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will move on to public comments on agenda items. Clerk Konecki, anyone signed up?
Is Joe Amore has an agenda item?
Good evening, it's Joe Amore, 309 East Maple Street. I'm speaking on item 10B on the village being asked to support the resolution of the DuPage County to concerning a behavioral health crisis center. Without reading through the whole resolution, I just want to come out in support of this type of initiative. You know, we serve our citizens by providing them the help that they need in these trying times, especially when you recognize that even now with the coming holidays, there's a lot of people that may be considering taking drastic and irreversible action to what one of our members of the DuPage Rail Safety Council mentioned as a part of a presentation he gave. They just want the pain to stop. And this is such a phenomenal issue that actually is, as you all know, the federal government this summer passed legislation establishing a national 988 suicide and crisis prevention hotline, which greatly expands the old 800 number that was just a suicide prevention hotline, because they recognize that getting people the help they needed early and establishing call centers, you could give people another option to address their concerns and direct them to specific people who could help them, whether they be a veteran, whether their English may not be their first language. So again, we as my personal belief here, I think that any help that we can get people before they take that drastic irreversible action will benefit the entire community. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Joe. Okay, anyone else?
I had no one else signed up.
Cheryl Tucker. I again would like the board to support 10B. That's the reason I'm here. I think it is a good outreach for us to do that and be part of that, as our residents do need this in many different capacities. I know there's no financial decision they're making tonight, but as it moves forward, my only concern is that what they're proposing is a unit for only 24 residents a day, and that kind of bothers me if it's a worldwide thing for full DuPage County, that will not be enough for us, and we'll be still in a crisis that we're in right now of our police department, our hospitals and other things having to deal with issues that they're not prepared for. So as you move forward and this comes up to, please, look into the needs of the village as a whole, because I don't believe 24 units a day is going to be enough. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Cheryl. Okay, do we have anyone else? Public comments, agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Item 5, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments proposed? Seeing none, we go to the consent agenda. Item 6A, approval of minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting of November 21st, 2022, and coffee with the village board meeting from December 3rd, 2022. And 6B, bill listings for the weeks of November 21st and 28th, 2022, and December 5th, 2022, in a total amount of $964,881. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda? Trustee Corkery, we have a second. Trustee Kumar, any questions or comments? Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Silella.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, we'll go on to item 7A, is the first reading of an ordinance levying taxes for the fiscal year of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, commencing the first day of January 2022, ending on the 31st day of December 2022, collectible in 2023. Manager Harline.
This ordinance, as you said, sets the property tax rate levied for the property value assessed in December 31, 2022. Collection of the revenue will be in calendar year 2023. Because of the proposed increase in property taxes less than 5%, no public hearing is required. Staff recommends first reading on December 12th and passage of the ordinance on December 19th. And memo is in the packet, and Finance Director Chuck Howard is here if you have additional questions. And with that,
Okay, good. This is a first reading, so it'll be discussion only. Do we have any discussion or comments from the board? Trustee Kozar.
What is the amount that is proposed to raise property taxes? It's less than 5%, but what percent is it?
4.7. Yeah.
I'm not in favor of raising our property taxes. I think our residents have enough burden, and especially in these times with inflation, I would like to see our property taxes remain the same for this upcoming year.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, comments, or discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will go on to item 7B. It's the first reading of an ordinance adopting a budget for the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, for all corporate purposes in lieu of annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing of January 1st, 2023, ending on December 21st, 2023. Manager Harline.
The village's fiscal year 2023 budget ordinance allocates funds for continued provision of village services as well as significant capital investments as discussed during the village's November 7th special board meeting and budget workshop. The draft of the proposed budget has been available for public inspection at Village Hall and on village website. The budget covers the 12-month period from January 1, 2023 to December 31, 2023. This is the first reading of the FY 2023 budget ordinance with final passage of the ordinance by the board on December 19th, 2022. A memo has been was included in the packet. A draft of the 2023 budget is also included. I will say that there will definitely be some changes between now and next week, and there are some things that, if you notice that the amount, some of the amounts have changed since November 7th as we have gotten done a little bit more work. The water fund was not really, there's some work that had not gotten completed by November 7th that has been gotten completed, and now the water, if you looking on the financial summary on the very first pages, you'll notice that the wastewater, or the water fund is, water supply is much closer to in balance, and by the time we have it ready for next week, we will have the rest of the changes made in there. So there are a number of different items, as we discussed on November 7th, different initiatives, and if there are comments, questions, or other changes that the board would like to make, today is a good time, or tonight's the best time to give us that information so we can have amendments prepared for the meeting on the, our final version with any amendments prepared next Monday. Last minute changes are not ideal, and also if it's a big enough change, we would probably have to come back for a additional meeting. So, and with that, I leave it open for comment from the Board of Trustees.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Trustee Kumar.
I have a question. We had the wish list from all the people that came out, and then you worked all these things in. What did we lose in terms of this budget?
I'm sorry, the wish list from all the departments?
Yeah, the department heads and stuff like that. Did we not, is there something that we, was not feasible?
There are some projects, some building projects that had to be reduced. There was the amount of money that was available from the bond issue and the amount of money and the grant versus how much would be spent in 2023 versus 2024 was not, we had all the revenues, not all the expenses. So we had to cut a couple of the building improvement projects. I think one was, trying to remember, there was a roof that on one of the buildings that we're going to have to delay, not the police department's roof. So right now, but there were some other building projects that are going to be delayed, for example.
How about employment?
I'm sorry?
Employment?
No, there are no changes, and we still have all 3 new firefighters in there. The conversion of a part-time to a full-time in police, and the conversion of adding a person in parks, but eliminating the cost for a contract janitorial services. Those are all in there.
Okay. Any other questions? Trustee Solala.
Looking at some of the prioritized strategic goals for 2019, some of them were pushed out to 2022, rolling into 2023, such as trees, sidewalk replacement, increase, things of those nature. Are those still on track to proceed in the 2023's budget?
Well, I might ask Mike Guerra to give some more details, but one of the reasons some of those things weren't done was just a matter of time to get projects through, and then some of it has to do with where we're doing ADA improvements and in conjunction with some other projects, but I think Director Guerra could probably give a better answer.
So yes, correct. There's, well, a few that because of transitions, we didn't get quite established. But in terms of the sidewalks, trees, those are continual goals of the Public Works Department. Obviously, our trees are a priority, getting more planted. I believe in this year's budget, we've upped the number of trees we're hopeful to plant in terms of budgetary cost. I think we increased another $15,000 for new tree purchase, which equates to about $300 a tree. So that increases the number as we're trying to backfill a lot of the trees that have been done. But for our goals, those are always kind of continual. We'll always be replacing sidewalk, upgrading sidewalk, trying to expand that program, essentially with the trees. We did up the budget some this year for sidewalk replacement. And that's through the 50/50 and then continual with locations, and begin to look at infill locations in this year's budget as well. And infill being locations where there is no sidewalk, but sidewalk on either side to try to provide that continuation of sidewalk through blocks.
I guess my question is, like, for this example, funding increased in 2022, but not spent for replacing and maintaining street trees. So there was money increased in that budget year, but I'm assuming due to the transition of...
Correct. There was some of that,
Department heads.
and some of it was previously programmed, but the use was looked at MFT, and it wasn't eligible for MFT, so we didn't want to take out of the corporate fund for some of those because it was not planned in the corporate fund. So some of those numbers were then adjusted to account for the actual amount of funding available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trustee Kozar.
Just building off of what Dave was asking, can you just direct me to this budget, where we're at for the sidewalk replacement? Do you have that?
I can look at it, but I believe we have, I don't have the numbers, I'd have to pull them up, but that's in our capital plan and the capital sidewalks, Fund 64, 66? Thank you. I knew it was in the 60s. 66. So we have a couple different ones in there. We have the ADA, which we are planning to use MFT funding for, which I believe was $125,000 planned.
It's
And then-
165. Well, it's 125 of that and 40%, okay.
And then we do have another, I believe, 100,000 for the 50/50 program. This past year, we only needed about 50,000 due to the transition. We didn't complete all that, the sidewalk funding that we wanted to do, so we kind of upped it to account for some of that for this next upcoming year. Because we do have quite a extensive backlog in the 50/50 program for our sidewalk replacement program. And I can pull them up on my laptop for the exact numbers. I still don't-
We can have those next week, though.
Well, even before that, I think I'll just follow up with you maybe tomorrow and you can kind of guide me through there because I wasn't understanding it as I was reading it, so,
Okay, yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so we will come back to that next week for a final reading.
And I'll say that one thing is that Director Howard and I have talked about is trying to make this document a little bit more user-friendly for us and especially for you and for the public so that it becomes, it won't all take place between now and this time next year. There's other things that, I know we both would like to see more what's called program-based budgeting. So if we have two different allocations for sidewalks, that we could also give you a program-based, how much is going into sidewalk repair. That's going to take some more coding and some other stuff that probably won't happen in the next 12 months. It'll probably be after that, so.
Can we do that with the system we have, or do we need a new system?
Theoretically, we can do it with the system we have, but it's very cumbersome. That's one of the reasons we're looking at getting a new system.
Trustee Kozar.
I do want to say that this year, I mean, it's kind of a learning curve. Last year was the first time I saw the proposed budget and how we did it. I liked how you did, all the department heads came and talked a little bit about the budget. I thought that was very helpful. I think how you as the manager have tried to put together the budget and educate the board as to what the needs are and what is happening. I thought you're making good progress on that. And even though I'm asking questions about certain things that I don't quite understand or I can't find in here, I do think that the overall clarity of what we're working on has been improved. So thank you for doing that. And thanks to all the department heads. I know that this time of year you guys put in a lot of time and we don't necessarily see it because you're stuck in a room somewhere crunching numbers and trying to figure stuff out. So I know a lot of time and effort goes into this and I appreciate that.
Thank you for those comments. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we will move to item 8A. First reading.
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you have okay, sorry.
Okay, the first reading on ordinances to be codified. Item 8A is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Section 3-313A of the Municipal Code of the Village of Villa Park in order to decrease by one the maximum number of licenses permitted under the Class H liquor license classification and increase by one the maximum number of liquor licenses under the Class D liquor license classifications. Manager Harline.
The business at 344 North Ardmore currently holds a Class H liquor license, which allows for sale of beer and wine only. They are requesting Class D, as in David, license to sell full package liquor. There are currently no available Class D licenses, so the village would need to adopt the attached ordinance to allow for this liquor license. With this new license, there will be a total of 9 Class D licenses, and the number of Class H licenses will decrease to 4. The local Liquor Control Commission recommends approval of this ordinance. And Suzanne McVeigh is here if you want, and Director Howard also, if you have any questions of staff. And also we have the chair of the Liquor Commission here as well, too.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay. Trustee Kumar.
I have a question about, it seems like we're changing a lot of these in our ordinances from D to H. What is the situation? Are there some classes that are just becoming not, old and dated? What's the...
No, in a case like this, at the time, there was a liquor store across the street. This is a convenience store on Ardmore, and there was a liquor store that originally was across the street. Now that that's closed down, the owner had approached me and had requested this change because residents in the area have asked for it. So it's typically things like that. There are a couple of licenses that we have that the Liquor Commission met last month, and I will get the minutes out for that. Those are getting finalized right now. But there are a couple of classes that we have that the Liquor Commission recommended getting rid of because we just don't have a need for them. So a couple of other changes that they recommended, but, yeah, so it is something that we look at periodically. Trustee Corkery,
I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading for this ordinance.
waive the first reading?
Waive the first reading.
Okay,
Every time.
okay.
I'll
Trustee
second
Murphy?
that.
Okay, so we have a motion to waive the first reading. Trustee Solella.
Say one question.
Sure.
Do we have a cap on the total of licenses that we can distribute?
No.
No.
No, the way we work it is, when a person approaches us for a license, we add a license to it. It's up to the board if they don't want to, if the board does not want to address
I
it.
understood that, but I just know if there was a cap on
No,
the number.
there is no
Due to
total cap
population.
or anything like
Okay.
that. No, not according to our ordinances.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions on waiving the first reading? Okay, Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Solella?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Since I have a liquor license, I'm going to recuse myself from this vote.
Yes, thank you. Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
President Casson?
Yes. Okay, so now we have a motion, can we have a motion to approve of the ordinance? Trustee Corkery? And we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Okay, any questions or discussions on the ordinance itself? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Solella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Again, since I have a liquor license, I'm going to recuse myself from
Yeah,
this vote.
thank you. President Casson?
Yes. Okay, so that passes, so he will get his license. Going to item 9A is an extension of ordinance 4245 for a special use for cannabis dispensing facility at 305 West North Avenue. Manager Harline.
Per section 11.4.9, lapse of approval A, a special use will lapse after 1 year unless a building permit has been issued, a certificate of occupancy has been issued, or the special use has been established. Owners of this proposed facility are still actively pursuing this project and have submitted plans for review. Therefore, staff recommends approval of a 6-month extension to ordinance 4245 for a special use for cannabis dispensing facility per section 11.4.9, lapse of approval.
Thank you.
And we have staff here.
Okay. Trustee Kumar. We have a motion? Nope. We have a motion.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. We have a second. Trustee Patrick?
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Kumar.
I have a question. So they're asking for 6 more months to kind of get everything together, is that?
To get
the
their
main-
building permit and their CO
everything
done. Yeah.
Together, okay. And we still have the taxes that will be from the proceeds will go somewhat partially towards our pension fund.
Correct.
The 2% and the 1% or whatever towards.
Correct. That's for any cannabis
Oh,
dispensary.
the dispensary.
Yes.
Correct, okay.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Solella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Casson?
Yes. Okay, item 9B is petition PZ-22-0013, 251 West Jackson Street, amending ordinance 4206 for special use for planned unit development to now allow an electronic message display sign. Manager Harline.
The property owner of 251 West Jackson Street, which is the DuPage School District 45, is seeking an amendment to ordinance 4206 for special use for planned unit development to allow an electronic message display sign. The subject property is the location of Jackson Middle School and the new Early Childhood Center operated by DuPage School District 45. The site has a previous 3-foot by tall by 6-foot wide sign allowed by right. The proposed sign is a replacement of the previous sign. Staff recommends approval of petition PZ-22-0013 for an amendment to ordinance 4206 for this special use. And we have staff here, and also Superintendent Anthony Palomisano is here if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kozart?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so you can put your sign up.
Your speech was brilliant, I'm sure, but you.
Okay, we go to item 9C, is an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2022 to pay the principal of and interest on $3,010,000 general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2017 of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. Manager Harling.
As part of the annual property tax process, the village routinely abates property tax levied for debt service when it has certain funds available to pay the debt. Abating the property tax levy means that we are informing the county that we do not need property tax revenues to pay the debt service on these bonds. This is a common practice for general obligation alternative revenue bonds where there are sufficient funds to make the debt service payments. These bonds were issued as part of our plan to manage TIF 3 debt, which has insufficient revenue covering increasing debt service payments. Staff recommends passage of this ordinance. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion on the ordinance. Trustee Kumar.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar.
So we're abating these bonds, meaning we're not taking the debt? What is, or is?
No, what we are doing is not putting this on property tax. So this is, we have enough funds in the general fund
In the general
to
fund.
pay for it,
Oh.
correct. Right. Correct. Okay, questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, we're going to item 9D, is an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2022 to pay the principal of and interest on $2,645,000 general obligation alternate bonds, sales tax alternate revenue source, Series 2018A of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. Manager Harling.
The first sentence is identical in all three of these, so I'm going to skip that. The enclosed ordinance abates the property tax levy for the 2018A stormwater alternate revenue bonds as there is sufficient revenue collected to pay for the debt on these bonds, and this comes from the stormwater fund.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have motion for the ordinance. Trustee Patrick,
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
second. Trustee Salella.
Make
Any
that second.
questions or comments? Clerk Konecki, Trustee Kumar.
I'm just happy that we have all these abatements.
No.
Go ahead.
Clerk Konecki.
Okay, trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, go on to item 9E, is an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2022 to pay the principal of and interest on $2,735,000 general obligation alternate bonds, sales tax alternate revenue source, Series 2019A of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. Manager Harling.
The enclosed ordinance on this one abates the property tax levy for the 2019A stormwater alternate revenue bonds as there is sufficient revenue collected to pay for the debt on these bonds.
Thank you. Okay, motion, Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, second.
That's second.
Trustee Salella. Questions or comments? Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Item 10A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the purchase of a Ford F-350 pickup truck with plow for the Public Works Department through the State of Illinois Central Management Services Bureau of Strategic Sourcing at a cost not to exceed $65,000. Mayor Harline.
Village is requesting authorization to submit an order to Morrow Brothers Ford dealership in Greenfield, Illinois, through the Illinois Central Management Services Bureau of Strategic Sourcing, state bid, in short, for a 2023 F-350 with Ford truck with a 8-foot plow. This will replace the Truck 97. Pictures are supplied in the packet, which is a 2008 F-250 and has exceeded its useful life. Due to current supply issues with new vehicles, this request for order has been submitted for an opportunity for a new 2023 truck. The board has given blanket approval for taking steps to purchase vehicles when faced with these short windows, but the timing allowed for this to come before the board. This replacement vehicle is planned in the FY 2023 budget, and staff recommends its approval.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Kumar?
I make that motion.
We have a second? Trustee Salella?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I was asked by a resident, and I'd like to know as well, if we're spending $65,000 on this, I know it says that it's exceeded its useful life. Is there any opportunity for us to use that money to refurbish, refix, or repair the current existing vehicle that we own?
I don't know. I'll let either Director Guerra or Director Gola is in charge of the fleet operations. If you wanted to make a comment.
I'll defer to Director. His truck.
We do look through each one of these to determine when we're at that point when it makes sense to stop doing repairs, and we will sell it we'll try to get every dime out of the value that's left. But go ahead.
Correct. With this one is why we've seen its useful life. It is 14 years old. In terms of a service vehicle, that's a pretty long time. While it only has 67,000 miles, similar to the Vector, our town is relatively not that large. I think 4.75 square miles. So the miles driven is not capable. It's not equivalent to highway miles. So obviously, I believe our fleet superintendent, Matt Faree, would probably say, city driving is a lot harder on vehicles than highway driving. So that is quite a bit of city miles. Secondly, due to this age, we are starting to see, we try to throw a few photos in there, the deterioration of the vehicle, like where one of the side mirrors is about ready to rot off, so we'd have to replace that mirror. There's probably some transmissions that are ready to go. And then obviously 14 years of age on a frame is a pretty long time with its current conditions in the Midwest. Additionally, we're running into, as we know, supply issues. So while we are submitting an order, there's no guarantee that we would get this truck, and we still have to maintain it for another year, making it 15 years before we actually might see a replacement, if not longer. So really, we're just trying to get in queue because we're having to stretch these trucks a little bit longer. I believe several years ago, and Director Gola can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we put together kind of an master equipment repair or replacement list, trying to gauge for 10 years. Obviously, we've stretched 14. We don't have to stretch for 15 before we even have a possibility of seeing this truck. And so while, yes, we can repair it, at some point we're getting to a finite age on that truck that we need to swap it out with a new truck.
Thank you.
Mr. Kozar, did you have?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are you planning on keeping this truck as a backup of any sort, or are you going to sell it at auction, or what's the plan with this
We would
truck?
be looking to go to auction for any salvage value that we can get out of the
Do you
vehicle.
have a ballpark idea what the value of the truck is?
Not off the top of my head, no. I can do some research and get back to you. What we can look on OpenGov and those sort of sourcing to see. I would imagine being 14 years old and some of the dings and stuff with it, it'd probably be a few $1,000s because there's not much of a used truck market right now with the supply shortage. But it probably will not cover. It'll cover some, but not all.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Does this truck go out every time it snows for plowing?
This is one of our 350s, so it'll be more of our cul-de-sac, dead end roads. So we do use them. Obviously, during any snow event, we run it through our fleet to try to keep them at optimal for operations. But we do have trucks that go down, so we do like to have a little bit of an extra fleet so that we can swap trucks out.
Yeah, because that beats the trucks up even more.
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Kumar,
You're saying, I was kind of confused by your last statement about the salvage value. If there aren't so many trucks out there, why would the salvage value be less? It should be more.
I'm just, I don't know what the exact, I'm just saying it won't cover the, 65. We'll probably be a
obviously,
few
that's not-
thousand,
yeah.
few thousand range.
Okay.
But due to its age and condition.
Yeah, I mean, but if there's not trucks out there, if you're desperate, probably you'd be ready to have any truck at that point. So for me, that's when the salvage value goes a little bit up. Not much, maybe $500, but it will go up.
I was just, sorry, I was trying to preface in that we would not expect a large windfall in the salvage
Yeah.
value of it.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hey, Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Salela,
Yes.
Presley Casone.
Yes. Okay, item 10B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, supporting the DuPage County Health Department's initiative for behavioral health crisis system of care for DuPage County. Manager Harline.
The DMMC, the DuPage Managers Mayors Conference, as well as the DuPage County Health Department, is seeking support for this health department's effort to site, construct, and operate a central receiving center as part of a broader initiative for behavioral health crisis system of care. At the November meeting of the Managers Committee of DMMC, the Health Department made a presentation requesting support of the municipalities in DuPage County to pledge support for the concept and in very general terms, some form of financial support in the future. A facility of this type would also be much cheaper to operate than a hospital emergency department and safer for all parties than a holding cell or county jail. No pledge of funds is being requested at this time, but a committee of elected officials, municipal managers, police, and fire chiefs and county health officials is being assembled to discuss options. We're just looking for support. Staff recommends support of this resolution.
Thank you. Trustee Kumar,
I
make a motion?
motion to make this a resolution.
Thank you. Trustee Patrick?
I would like to second it.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Corkery?
I'll just echo what some of the residents said, that I think this is a really good first step, and I'm happy to be voting for it in just a couple minutes.
Good. Trustee Kumar?
I also would like to piggyback off of Trustee Corkery. It's a very beautiful initiative. My son is right now working in a facility that helps those who are behaviorally challenged, and we really need more help in our community. So, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Kozar?
I want to just thank Joe Amore. You've brought this up in a number of different meetings. You've come to coffee with the board, and you've talked about, if not this program, other mental health type situations and the new emergency number and things of that sort. So I just appreciate you keeping this topic in our conversation and advocating for those that need that help. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Salela,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Presley Casone.
Yes. Okay, public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, Joe Amore is first.
Good evening, Joel Maury again, 3090 East Maple Street, Villa Park. I chair the Bike Pedestrian and Transit Subcommittee of the Environmental Concerns Commission, and I'm here tonight to remind everyone that we have moved our meeting from December. Normally it is held on the fourth Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. here at the Village Hall. And for this month, we have moved it to 5:30 p.m. from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Orman Room at the Villa Park Public Library on this Thursday, the 17th. We've done that to accommodate a presentation from the Home Energy Efficiency Program through ComEd that I see ECC Chair Wagner is here with us. I hope he is here to expand on what will be talked about at that meeting. But as far as the Bike Pedestrian and Transit Subcommittee, the public is always welcome, and we always would like to have them join us to discuss issues that concern them, even though they may not realize it. We can get ahead of some of these things. For example, the proposed agenda for this month, some of the things we're going to be talking about is snow removal enforcement from sidewalks. We're going to get ahead of this and try to have discussions with the village in the near future once we address snow conditions. Another thing that we'll be talking about is pedestrian, access for the underpasses, if we can get them, that's underway. But metro station access is another topic that we'll be discussing this Thursday. And I want to applaud Parks and Rec for them taking the initiative to address our concerns with the cold weather approaching. They have expanded the hours that the western portal on the building is available through Monday through Friday during the hours of normal operations. Unfortunately, the weekend that access is not available. I know the village is working on putting in improved heaters at the shelters, so future access to that building may not be necessary once those heaters are installed. But the station access during the winter months is critical, 7 days a week. The expanded the hours for metro operations are different on the weekends. It would be roughly from starting at 7 a.m. past till about 11:15 p.m. And Parks and Recs is involved because they're responsible for building maintenance and cleanliness, and so they don't want it turning into a place for people who don't have anywhere else to go. But in a perfect world, you would walk up to the train, and the train would pull in, and off you would go. But as anyone who's ridden a train might have experienced, sometimes on weekends, you have service every 2 hours. So if you miss a train because you were blocked by a stopped train or a freight train going in the opposite direction, or if, say, if there's a breakdown in service or an accident, you may be out there for 2 to 4 hours waiting for service. Sometimes trains get canceled because of a lack of crew. We almost experienced a rail strike last week for that very issue because of crew availability. So once again, for example, this weekend, the overnight lows are going to be in the low 20s. So our metro station is a portal for the village. We want to provide a welcoming environment. And we can definitely hope that we can serve, access to the building
Okay,
is
30
available.
seconds.
Thank you. Is available until those heaters are put in. And thank you for your time.
Good. Thanks, Joe. Thank you for all your support and your help. Appreciate it. Okay, anyone else?
Bob?
Thank you. Bob Wagner, 114 West Monroe. I'm here as chair of the Villa Park Environmental Concerns Commission, and just want to let the board know and members of the public know that this coming Thursday, December 15th, at 6:30 p.m. at the Villa Park Public Library, the Environmental Concerns Commission will sponsor a speaker from ComEd in partnership with the library. Susan Strangmeyer will talk about the various programs that ComEd has, rebates, discounts, and various online tools that ComEd provides to the public. She'll also talk about home energy assessments, which ComEd provides, which are very valuable. So once again, it's this coming Thursday, December 15th, in the Orman Room at the library at 6:30 p.m. And I just want to mention that all attendees will receive a 4-pack of LED light bulbs and a weatherizing kit. This is courtesy of ComEd. And I also want to mention that the commission had a very successful participation in Joyful Traditions. We sponsored a tree with an environmental theme, and we passed out approximately 150 4-packs of LED light bulbs, approximately 125 weatherizing kits to village residents. So it was a great experience, and members of the public were appreciative that they received those items, especially around this time of the year. And lastly, I appreciate the manager's effort to get budgets from commission, boards and commissions. And of course, our commission submitted a budget with a justification for a modest increase in our budget. And I don't necessarily need an answer now, but I hope that we'll get a response whether that modest increase was approved. And I know there are other commissions did as well. It may have seemed like a large percentage of our last year's budget, but it was actually a very minuscule increase that we requested. So, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we will go to item 12, Village Clerk's Report.
Yes, I've got a couple things today. First of all, today is the first day that I've been accepting filing petitions from candidates that are running for the consolidated election, and that is for village trustees as well as library trustees. So that runs 9 to 5 through this week and 9 to 5 on Monday the 19th, ending on 5 o'clock on the 19th. So by then you have to have everything in, and if there is if someone has a particular issue or a timing issue, they only have to come at lunchtime, for instance, or something, that's tied in with some situation, please call and let me know, or let the village manager's executive assistant know, Cheryl Wagner, and then I can accommodate that. If there's sometimes there are issues with jobs or things like that. So anyway, so we're on the go for that. I'm accepting petitions daily. SALT meeting is coming up on Wednesday, the 14th. That is at the Community Recreation Building. I believe it's the last time we're going to be meeting there. And Officer Sonia Bregman has a program set up as usual, a guest speaker, and that's at 11 a.m. And the Senior Concerns Commission will be providing the lunch at noon. And then finally, we have a gift for the board as well as for Police Chief Rivas and Acting Chief, Fire Chief Stapleton from Sis and Phil Greco. Sis came today and delivered Italian Christmas cookies to the manager and the board and to those other two gentlemen and their departments. And the cookies are in boxes, separate boxes on the table in the back room, in the conference room, tied with a beautiful red ribbon. So please find your box, your name is on it, and that's by the kindness of the Greco family.
Nice, thank you.
And that's all I have, thank you.
And I'm sure the chiefs will share their cookies, right?
That's all I have.
Okay. Well, that was nice of the Grecos. Please, when you see them, thank them for us. Okay, Village Trustees Report. We'll start on my left. Trustee Kumar.
I just want to say I'm very glad about some of the initiatives that came up today and the great work that was done on the budget and all the efforts of staff in that aspect and the way it was done this year. I would also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I was sorry to miss joyful traditions due to a personal obligation, but I'm very, very, I wish you all a safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Corkery.
So I had a lot of fun last week. I was able to attend the Polar Express train ride, and it was a wonderful time. I got to lead some carols with the parents and the children who came out. Made some paper chains. Santa Claus was able to take some time out of his very busy December schedule to come ride the train with us. So thank you to everyone who came out. It was a very festive occasion. Thank you to the village staff who worked on it and worked hard and made it a really wonderful holiday experience for the kids who you could see on their faces that they were really having a good time. And thank you to the Metra for also making it a smooth experience and a smooth ride. And in a similar vein, I would like to just say to anyone who maybe didn't hear that there's a Christmas play coming up this next weekend that is also through the Villa Park Parks and Recreation. It's called Merry Mutiny, The Fight to Save Christmas, about some trouble at the North Pole. A lot of local kids have been in it, a lot of local people have been working on it. It should be a very good show. So there are 4 shows this coming weekend. There's a 7 o'clock show at Friday, 3 o'clock and a 7 o'clock show on Saturday, and a 3 o'clock show on Sunday. It's at Montini. And that's all I have this week.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, thank you. I have 3 thank yous. First, to the Grecos for the cookies. That was very kind of you and very thoughtful. Also, a thank you to the Joyful Traditions team, everyone involved in the setup, but in particularly those that came out to break down and clean up. First thing the next morning, everything was picked up, the garbage, and not a trace left. So I really appreciate that, and I think most of our residents do too. So thank you for that, and I'm going to give a unique shout out with a thank you to Chris Aiello for what appears to be work he's done on his building over on Ardmore. Looks like he did some painting on the exterior this week, and he very kindly picked out coordinating colors with the meadery and with the barber shop. So we've got a nice dark red brick and black thing going on down there, which really gives a lot of cohesive look to that area. So slow but sure, we're making positive progress. So thank you to Chris for that work.
Thank you. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I would just like to recognize and thank the Villa Park Chamber of Commerce for hosting Joyful Traditions. It was a wonderful event, really well done, excellent job. As a parent with young kids, I really appreciate all the efforts that went into that, especially for the kids. Just phenomenal job. I'm looking forward to next year as well. Lastly, I also wanted to congratulate our deputy chief on his retirement. In his speech, he kind of alluded to what had transpired recently in Lombard with the armed robbery. And I think it's important that a lot of people realize that while this did take place in Lombard, that Villa Park is directly impacts Villa Park as well, and we had many resources from Villa Park out there as well during that incident. And I just want to thank our police chief and our police departments and fire departments for everybody that responded to that incident. We do wish the Lombard officer a speedy recovery. Outside of that, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty straightforward, no further major incidents took place because of that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But I do think it is important that while we do have events like this that happen outside of Villa Park's jurisdiction, we are directly impacted by some of these, and I think it's very important that we know and recognize our police and fire departments for those reasons. So thank you for all of your hard work out there and just doing your job and keeping us safe here at home. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Kozar.
A memo was circulated as to the cost of the separation from our previous manager to where we are now. I think Dave's probably going to speak to that too, to some degree. The memo that went out, I think it's a valiant start. It's not totally reflective of what the cost versus the savings have been. Part of that number is the cost of accrued vacation time that the previous manager had accrued. So as we look at it, it's not a true cost of the separation. It's something that has been accrued to begin with. We also have some money that was saved during the time that the previous manager wasn't here versus the time when our new manager started. So I look forward to refining that to get a true picture of what the cost and the savings are. So it's a good start. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Law.
Yes, as alluded, I will discuss the costs associated with the separation. My goal here originally was to keep track of all funds and costs that it would take to move us forward into a new manager and leadership crew. The numbers were compiled and given to me as a conservative number of $317,388.79, taking into as much as account as possible. To my understanding, there is quite a bit of, I don't want to say money's not being spent, but due to the leadership changeover and the lack of having a fluid flow of leadership during that duration, some projects suffered. Either they weren't done completely, they were not done at all, or they were postponed. So those monies, in my assumption of the cost analysis is money that was or could have been better spent. So what I'm taking from this is, although separation was warranted or unwarranted isn't the case, it's the cost affected to the village residents and what it costs to do this. Was it right, wrong? I won't answer that. Could it have been better planned? I believe so. Could that better planning have had a better effect on what it would cost? There's always a cost to doing business, but it could double if it's done properly. So I also am waiting for a little bit closer number than what the conservative number is, because I think it's higher. I don't know that that will come quickly or if it's going to take time to develop as we progress, but
Okay.
that's what I'd like to share with our residents today.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go to Village President's Report. I've got a couple things we've already touched on. Definitely thanks to the Grecos for their Christmas treat. We always appreciate that. Grecos have done a lot for the village, and we appreciate that they're still thinking of us. Definitely want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for Joyful Traditions. I know some of their members were out there all day. It was cold, and they stuck it out all day, setting up and then taking down at the end of the night. So they did a great job. It was a great turnout. A lot of residents there. So that was very good. Touch on the police incident in Lombard. I know after conversing with Chief Rivas, I know we did have a lot of resources that took over coverage of some of Lombard, and then we called in shifts. So thanks to the police department, they did a great job as always, and I'm sure fire department was involved in that also. So thanks to our first responders, you guys did a great job, and as always, stay safe out there. Snow will eventually be coming, so just kind of keep track of if you can keep your sidewalks clear, and also watch the overnight parking. It's tough when these snowplows are coming by and when there's cars parked in the street, so you may not be out of the time frame for keeping your car on the street, but if you see snow, try to put it in your driveway or in your garage so that the snowplows can get by. And have a great holiday season, and we'll see you next week to wish you a Merry Christmas. And we'll go to the Village Manager's Report.
Just three quick things. First, I'd like to thank President Kazone, Trustee Murphy, and Chief Rivas for attending the Inspire Nutrition grand opening on Roosevelt, and just another chance to give them a plug for opening, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for setting that up. On the Metro parking, I know it's come up with the last two coffee with the board, and it seems like it'd be an easy answer, but there are 3 different departments and a city code involved, and we are working on a solution. We will, if we want to do monthly parking and we want to stick to the ordinance, we need to adopt a new ordinance. We're also apparently not charging the fee that's specifically set out in the ordinance, so we need to look at that as well. And then we've got some other just, bureaucratic things that we need to take place once we get full direction from the board. But as it stands now, we'll need to bring an ordinance back to determine what we want to do there, especially if we want to do a monthly fee. But that could be done probably at the latest in November or in January. Sorry. And the other thing about the Metro. I talked with the Metro. His name is escaping me. I could dig through my emails, but the Metro is not coming back to that station. They're not going to be occupying it. There's no future plan to have staff in there. The building is owned by UP, leased to Metro, and then we sublease a portion for the coffee shop, which is closed because you can't sell coffee if there's nobody there, and there weren't very many people there before. So that is something that staff is trying to find, if there's some other future uses for that building that wouldn't be too expensive in terms of maintenance and that sort of thing. But just put that out there. And then, of course, in January, you're going to get a presentation that will address that area that could be a direction possibly in the future for that area as well. And then if I'm, just for my staff and myself, first of all, I just heard two different directions on what you want us to do in terms of further information on the costs for the separation of the former village manager a year ago. And without getting into a huge amount, I don't want to get into a huge discussion about it tonight, but if Trustee Salela, Trustee Kozar, if you could kind of flesh out what it is you're looking for, and then I'll reflect it back to the board in the annual memo, then we can discuss it next Monday to make sure that I know what it is you do and don't want, and how much detail you want. Yeah, and we'll give you some numbers, and then, of course, interpretation is up to each individual, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have no items for executive session tonight, so we will go on to adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. Trustee Kozar?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second. Trustee Salela, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we will see you guys back here next week, 7 o'clock normal time. It will be our second meeting of the month.